You guys, breaking news. I was walking the dogs and I had already exported my video, but I got the notification from the love of my life that President Donald Trump has been acquitted in the Senate impeachment trial. Unable to gain 2/3 of the vote of the Senate, the president has been acquitted officially by Chief Justice John Roberts of the U.S. Supreme Court. What a glorious day, you guys. First yesterday, the State of the Union. Now today, he has been acquitted. Things just keep getting better. Don't go away. Video's coming up next. Well, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Hope everyone's having a lovely day and that you enjoyed the State of the Union last night. My good friend Thomas at True Reporting streamed it on his channel, so we hung out there for a couple of hours. A riveting speech by the president. I do truly believe that the president secured his re-election last night. If there was anyone that was sitting on the fence, watching that speech, watching the reaction from the Democrats as President Trump called out all of the incredible accomplishments he's been able to achieve in such a short amount of time, there's absolutely no way you could see that and not feel the seething contempt that the Democrats had for the President of the United States and, by proxy, for this country and for the people of this great nation. We're going to go over some of the top moments from that State of the Union last night, also some of the top reactions by Democrats. We've got several posts that have been published ever since the speech ended last night, and a couple new ones from today. We are also going to be talking about testimony from FBI Director Christopher Wray given just this morning in a House committee hearing. So please do, everyone, sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. When emergencies strike, there's always news stories about long lines of people and empty store shelves. Well, there's no need to be part of that chaos and the possibility of having to deal with FEMA food lines. Those that know what's coming are using today to prepare. You should make a plan too, and you can start by building an emergency food supply. I trust and use My Patriot Supply, and you can too. They're the experts in emergency preparedness and have guaranteed 2-day delivery. Disasters won't wait, and neither should you. This week, you can save $70 on a 2-week emergency food kit when you go to my special website, preparewithredpill78.com. My Patriot Supply food kits last up to 25 years in storage and include breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. Order today and receive guaranteed 2-day delivery discreetly to your door. Take action so you're ready for what's coming and save $70. Those that know what's coming are preparing, and you can go to preparewithredpill78.com and get yours today. Once again, that's www.preparewithredpill78.com. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all, today we are going to break down the State of the Union. And let me be the first to say, in the year 2020, the state of our union is strong, stronger than it's ever been before. President Trump gave a rousing speech from the chambers of the Senate last night. It was an incredible thing to watch. The Democrats could not get out of there fast enough. Several of them actually did walk out. Most of them just sat silently on their hands, even hissing at times when the president was talking about the incredible achievements that we've been able to get in the last 3 years with him as president.
I am thrilled to report to you tonight that our economy is the best it has ever been. Our military is completely rebuilt, with its power being unmatched anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. Our borders are secure, our families are flourishing, our values are renewed, our pride is restored. And for all of these reasons, I say to the people of our great country and to the members of Congress, the state of our union is stronger than ever before.
Well, The first zinger of the night happened when President Trump walked in and went to the podium to hand out his copy of the State of the Union to both Mike Pence and to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi took the sheets from President Trump's hand, extended her hand, and he refused to shake her back. President Trump refused to shake Nancy Pelosi's hand at the State of the Union, and I guess it's because they haven't spoken since she blew up and walked out of their meeting back in October. So let's go ahead and take a look at the video.
Not a lot of exchange there as the president delivers his third State of the Union address. We see the First Lady and Rush Limbaugh at her side.
I love it.
Very poignant to see Rush Limbaugh there standing next to the president.
Nancy Pelosi pushes that mic up as if she's going to have anything to say. So yeah, President Trump set the stage right there and the tone for the evening, telling the Democrats that he was not going to take any of their BS, and he certainly was done taking it from Nancy Pelosi. Now, let's continue. Now, in response to President Trump's snubbing her at the beginning of the speech and all of her jeering and sneering throughout, Nancy Pelosi responded to the president's opening gesture. And at the very end, she took the pages from the State of the Union speech that was signed by President Trump, which was meant to be memorialized in the chambers of the Senate, and she tore it to pieces. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. There she goes, a couple pieces at a time, couple more, doing it very, very obviously, holding them high so everyone can see what she's doing. How incredibly disrespectful. President Trump, unknowing as she stands behind him, she's such a coward. Let's look at a slightly closer view.
Address to the nation tonight, just sort of about. Address to the nation tonight, just sort of about.
Nancy Pelosi certainly very proud of herself there in this moment. This is one of the most disrespectful things that I've ever seen. If you could imagine, what if someone who was the Speaker of the House under President Barry, what if the Speaker of the House at that time, who had been a Republican, took those pages and tore them up right behind them? That would have been something that would have been front page news, and there would have been outrage from people on both sides of the aisle. Well, the White House issued a statement, and they were not happy about Nancy Pelosi ripping up the State of the Union speech either. She was asked by reporters why she ripped up the speech, and she said it was the courteous thing to do considering the alternatives. What does that mean?
Why did you rip the speech up, Madam Speaker?
Because it was the courteous thing to do, considering the alternatives.
I don't know about you guys, but to me that kind of sounds a little threatening. What was it that Nancy Pelosi was considering as an alternative to simply ripping up the historic State of the Union speech on the first year of this brand new decade in a time when our country is doing so good, so much better than it's ever done before? Well, in response to Nancy Pelosi's stunt, the official White House Twitter account had this to say. Speaker Pelosi just ripped up one of our last surviving Tuskegee Airmen, the survival of a child born at 21 weeks, the mourning families of Rocky Jones and Kayla Mueller, a service member's reunion with his family, and that is her legacy. Very, very troubling behavior on behalf of Nancy Pelosi. However, given the actions of the Democrats over the last several years and even going back decades, I would say I am not particularly surprised. Just what was she planning and just what was she considering in the moments after that speech concluded? Now, last week, something very interesting was sent to me. Someone with, I guess, contacts in Washington, D.C., someone who works for a federal agency, they said that Nancy Pelosi was going to be taking a sabbatical very soon, that she was going to, quote-unquote, disappear. Well, Carl Higbie on Twitter notes, Speaker Pelosi destroyed an official government document, and that's actually a violation of 18 U.S. Code 2071. And the statute states, whoever having the custody of destroys the same shall be fined, shall forfeit his office, and be disqualified from holding any office under the United States. So very interesting to note that Speaker Pelosi broke laws right there on the floor. And if this law is upheld, then she will be disqualified from running further. She will be removed from her position, and that will essentially ensure that Nancy Pelosi disappears from Washington. Now, as we spoke about on the program yesterday, Rush Limbaugh has been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. President Trump honored him by having him in attendance at the State of the Union last night. And even more than that, he gave him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and it was placed upon his neck by none other than our First Lady. Now, here is a post from someone on 4chan, and it says, Trump didn't just award Rush a Presidential Medal of Freedom tonight. He deputized him. Rush's last days will be spent torpedoing the entire globalist world order with information straight from the top. Each and every show from here on out is absolutely must listen. Rush is the perfect and willing vessel to conduct this final mission for truth, for God, and for country. I can totally see this taking place. Now, remember, this is from an anonymous account on a message board, but they are listed as EIB Insider. Now, next question I have is, what does EIB mean? Well, for those who don't know, EIB is the network that Rush Limbaugh is associated with. So that would indicate that the person who posted that is someone who is actually very close to Rush and probably has a little bit of inside information. But I just want to, again say this is an anonymous person. Anybody can post this and say whatever they want. But I think that the content of the post is definitely in line with what is actually going to happen. Now, the final test of how President Trump did last night is in the polling, and a record 74% of all Americans believe that we will be better off financially this year. That is a record. Now, in terms of the speech itself, 97% of Republicans approved of the speech. I believe it was something like 30% of Democrats approved and 82% of independents. So that gives us some incredible data right there. Obviously, among Republicans, President Trump is going to sweep this year in 2020. And it looks to me like independents will also overwhelmingly vote for him as well. They certainly are not going to be voting for the Democrats. Now, Trump really knocked it out of the park last night. That State of the Union was one of the best I've ever seen. Every year, it just gets better and better. And undoubtedly, this might go down as one of the greatest addresses in modern history. No president in decades has had the type of success that President Trump has had, not only with the people, but with the results that he's actually gotten here as the leader of this great nation. Now, the poll that was given was a Gallup poll. 74% of Americans predict they will be better off financially as a result of President Trump's leadership. This is the highest ever recorded since they began taking these polls in 1977. So many decades of history behind us and many decades of failed presidential leadership. President Trump said last night, the myth of American decline is over. He has brought us into a new age, a golden age where America is great yet again. Now, Praying Medic last night on Twitter shared this video by Cheese Crackers, and it again shows us a little insight into how the American public feels about the speech given by President Trump. He says, Year of the Boomerang, hashtag SOTU. Let's go ahead and take a listen. All right, so just to key this up, this is a caller on C-SPAN giving their opinion about how President Trump is doing and how the Democrats reacted to this historic speech.
California, good evening to you. What's your reaction to the speech?
I agree wholeheartedly with the other callers. I am a Democrat as well, but no longer will I vote Democrat. I think it's outrageous that they sat there when all these good things are happening to our country and how much we love our country, and they looked like they hated our country. And Nancy Pelosi, the whole time she's sitting up there with a disgusting look on her face. It's outrageous. I will never vote Democrat again, and I'm sick of it, and my whole family feels the same way. My husband, my friends are sitting here, all former Democrats. We all voted for Hillary last time, And therefore, never, ever will we ever vote Democrat again.
First of all, she said that she agrees with the other callers. That means that there was many other callers calling into C-SPAN to give their opinion of how the speech went, and she was just one of many who felt the exact same way. Also to note, she is from California, could be in Nancy Pelosi's area, and she also stated that she had previously voted for Hillary Clinton, that all of her friends had, her husband, her family, they were Democrats, and they will never vote Democrat again, because the contempt that is palpable in the faces of those Democrats, not only last night, but every single day when they are trying to take down President Trump, when he is doing so much good for this country. Despite all that good, despite everything that the president has achieved, that contempt that everyone can feel, that everyone can see, is enough to turn off even the staunchest leftist liberal. These Democrats across the country will no longer be voting for Democrats because they have done everything they can to resist what President Trump has done, which has clearly been in the best interest of this country. Whether you are a Republican or a Democrat, it doesn't matter because we are all Americans. All right, now this morning, Christopher Wray, current director of the FBI, remember we've been told to trust Wray, was testifying before the House Judiciary Oversight Committee. And Gerald Nadler asked him a question about whether or not the president has specifically asked Christopher Wray to open an investigation into the Bidens and their criminal activity. And Methods got us a little clip here. He says, very interesting response. Let's go ahead and hear the question and Wray's response.
Now, recent reporting suggests that the president plans to seek payback against those individuals he believes crossed him during the impeachment proceedings. I'm sorry to have to ask, has the president, the attorney general, or any other administration official asked the FBI to open an investigation into Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, John Bolton, or any member of Congress?
Mr. Chairman, I have assured the Congress, and I can assure the Congress today, that the FBI will only open investigations based on the facts and the law and proper predication.
I understand that. And I assume that it is correct that neither the President, the Attorney General, or any other administration official has asked the FBI to open improper political investigation.
And no one has asked me to open an investigation based on anything other than the facts, the law, and proper predication.
Thank you.
Christopher Wray's response here, and I should just note that he didn't just ask about Hunter and Joe. He asked about anyone else that crossed him, any member of Congress. And Christopher Wray doesn't say no. He says that the only reason he would ever open up an investigation is upon the predication that a law had been broken. So that means that there are no improper investigations. But Christopher Wray is hinting at the fact here that there are investigations, and they are for laws that have been broken. And I would necessarily assume that that definitely includes some members of Congress, as well as the former vice president and his son. Now, in this next curious exchange, a representative for the state of Georgia, Doug Collins, a Republican and our guy, asks Christopher Wray about the Woods process on the FISA applications. Remember, they were certified as being true. They obviously weren't. The IG report that came out showed that there was major gross irregularities, things that should not have been done. Christopher Wray comments on it, and then he comments on open, ongoing investigations.
Knowing what you know, because you have looked over the Woods review process for the Carter page, do you think that it was a properly done investigation, especially given the Woods review of this application to the FISA court? This is you. I'm not talking about the Horowitz report.
I think the report describes conduct that is unacceptable and unrepresentative of the FBI as an institution, and that includes, in a number of respects, ways in which those particular applications were handled.
So you're saying that you agree on that. One last question. Have there been any determination who leaked the page FISA to the press?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Has there been any determination, or have you determined who leaked the page FISA to the press?
I don't have anything I can share on that.
Could you share in a classified setting?
No, I don't think so.
So we've not determined it. Have we looked?
Again, I can't speak to specific leak investigations or anything of that sort
So is there
here
an
or
ongoing,
otherwise.
are we saying there's an ongoing investigation to that?
No, I'm not saying that.
I yield back. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and I appreciate it.
All right, so a couple of interesting things there. As I've always stated, Christopher Wray's job is to reestablish the institution of the FBI, to bring it back to its former glory when it was a respected law institution here in the United States, when perhaps, many, many years ago, maybe when they first started, or maybe they never were as glorious as we'd like to think. I know a lot of people have some mixed opinions about the FBI, but Christopher Wray's job is to restore it and make it a shining example for the rest of the world, and something that the people of America can be proud of. So he definitely disagrees with what took place. This was an improper thing that happened with the Page FISA. They were certified as being true. They clearly were not. And when he says that they are not representative of the FBI as an institution, he's implying, in my opinion, that they are representative of the individuals who defrauded the FISA court. Now, the other thing that I thought was interesting, when Doug asks him about ongoing investigations or the investigation into the leak of that FISA warrant to the press, Christopher Wray looks up when he asks if they had determined who did it. So I think that maybe Christopher Wray was looking back into his memory, and he knows who leaked that FISA warrant to the press, but because it is an open and ongoing investigation, he can't comment on it. Now, he couldn't confirm one way or another whether or not there even was an investigation, because by doing so, he would be revealing that it exists, and he can't do that because there are still people who are going to be prosecuted for everything they've done. Now, in the slam dunk of Wray's testimony, he's asked about the individuals who were involved in the handling of the FISA abuse there at the FBI, those who have been forced, fired, removed. So let's get right into it.
To you is, and I think a lot of the American people would like to know the answer to this question, are all the individuals and agents and supervisors that were involved in all of these abuses that I just annotated, that were in this Horowitz report, are all of them no longer working at the FBI? Have they resigned or fired or been removed from their position?
At the more senior levels of the FBI, the people involved, I think in every respect that I can think of, are gone from the FBI. And of course, there is an ongoing investigation by Mr. Durham with which we're actively cooperating and fully cooperating, I might add. As to the current employees, there are more, what I would call more line-level employees who were involved in some of the events in the report. All of those employees, anybody who still remains at the FBI, and again, they tend to be more line-level people, were referred to our Office of Professional Responsibility, which is our disciplinary arm, which is the standard process. After there's been fact-binding by the Inspector General, and the facts go to our disciplinary arm, and by longstanding process, that's how we handle discipline about those people. We have erred on the side of inclusion when we did that. So what I mean by that is there are some people in the report who are literally named like once or twice, and it's not really clear they're even named in a way that's problematic. But we've gone ahead and just figured better safe than sorry, and we've sent all those names to the Office of Professional Responsibility. We will follow that process. And I have made very clear that if that process results in recommendations of discipline, then we're going to impose discipline, and we're going to hold people accountable.
They're going to hold them accountable. Every single one. And when he says discipline, he doesn't just mean a slap on the wrist. He's talking about criminal charges. When you imagine the scope of this, a coup to remove a democratically elected president. Let's go back and look at what Methods had to say. He says, there you have it. All those who are not currently in the FBI are being handled by Durham. Those still at the FBI have been forwarded to the disciplinary arm of the FBI, and Wray says they will all be held accountable if found to be guilty. And rest assured, my friends, these people will be found guilty because their guilt is not in question. I would imagine that even for the ones who are still at the FBI, who are being referred for disciplinary action, they will still be involved with this action by Durham. Their information will come up in the course of the investigation by John Durham. Their participation necessitates it. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at one more piece here. All right, so just posted today around 12:30, 12:23, and 38. We've got post 3831, Panic in D.C., and this iconic movie poster they never thought she would lose, Panic in D.C., in theaters now. Now, the content of the post, people actually believe those responsible for the attempted coup attempt of a duly elected sitting U.S. president will go unpunished. End to our constitutional republic, no equal justice under the law, no accountability, escape unscathed? Buckle up. That means justice is coming. These people will be held accountable, most certainly. And guys, the only reason it hasn't happened yet is because we've had a couple of hurdles we had to get over. They needed to get the investigations together, get them finished, prepare all of them, and those indictments are going to be unsealed. Just think, at this point, the Democrats have convinced America itself that they are no longer worthy or fit to lead this nation. They have shown through their resistance that their hatred for this president is enough to make them destroy this very country and the people who live here. The only thing they care about is themselves. They only care about maintaining their own power. They only care about the people who can do things for them. President Trump cares about you. He cares about this country, and he cares about every single American, regardless of political affiliation. The Democrats have done themselves in, and now that the rest of America is convinced of that exact same thing, it's time to start unsealing. All right, guys, well, after last night, after that State of the Union, and then watching Christopher Wray's testimony today, I gotta tell you, I am pumped. I'm so ready for this to happen. I am so ready for us to take our country back and take the final steps that are necessary to do that. I hope you guys are just as excited, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. That's all I have for you today. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pilled News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, it's Red Pill. Just one more thing. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has taken the time to support this channel. If you'd like to see some ways that you can support the channel, you can always check the show notes in the pinned comment of this video below. Whether you like, whether you share, whether you make sure that your notifications are on, any way that you support this channel means so much to me. I could not be doing this without you, and I could not do it without your help. Without people like you, this channel would not exist, so thank you so much to everyone for all of their many means of support. Don't forget to check out the merchandise store that is also in the pinned comment, and I will see you guys next time.